The world needs to know more about it,
Yeah,
especially America.
exactly.
America needs to know this guy because he is a hero. He's a revolutionary, and to stand up to a disgusting, smelly little thug like Putin, like hats off to this guy. I mean, massive courage because Putin gets away with so much crap, and that's what he is. He's just he's a dirty little thug. He's a tin pot.
Yeah. Well, I want
dictator.
to just kind of roll things back for perspective a little bit, at least from where I'm coming from, and I believe you come from cut from the same cloth here. But there's like both the kind of the left and the right, like the hard left, hard right, is both being propagandized about Putin in like these really just propagandistic ways that are coming from Russia and other supporters of Russia. And I'm not going to name countries, but I have read a bunch of stuff
Like
about
India?
other countries,
Sorry.
Saudi Arabia,
Let's not name them.
are putting out a bunch of false information on social media, trying to make Russia look like the good guy here,
Right.
on this stuff. The thing is like Putin has been down this road since the 80s. He feels like, and he's been quoted as saying such, that the fall of Russia, when the wall came down and they opened themselves up to the Western world, was a big mistake. He believes that, so he plays both sides of the coin. He smiles for the Western cameras. He talks good game. He befriended Trump. Whether he had dirt on Trump or not is immaterial because Trump loves Putin.
Yep.
And praises him every chance he gets, even though Trump is not in any position of power anymore to do anything about this war. He could still say to Putin, like, look, I can't support this now. And the first Americans died over there. I don't know if you saw that. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, an American, he was 22, had a baby, like a young, like 9 weeks old or something. Went over there, contracted by a corporate, a company to fight over there, and they don't even know, they're still looking for his body and stuff, but they know he's dead. I don't know if he had a chip on him or something.
But he was in battle. He went out there and was fighting.
He's an ex-Marine, and he left the military to go fight with this company, and they're just and I have hard feelings about that stuff, like about these companies hiring people to go in and do their dirty work that, basically governments don't want to get their hands dirty. And these
like Blackwater.
And they use these people to
mercenaries.
These mercenaries, that's the word, to do this kind of stuff. And so this movie is necessary for people to see the perspective of opposition in Russia against Putin.
Yeah, I think you touched on something really important right there. Because it's not really being seen as much. It's not really being shown as much, especially in the mainstream media and the mainstream.
Could you imagine if Trump had poisoned Hillary Clinton when he was running against her and she running against him? They were running against each other.
Right.
Because neither one of them was an incumbent at the time. And, party politics aside, if one party if either one of those people had been stricken and sick from poisoning, you would have blamed the other party. Like, it's simple as that. You would have said, oh, Trump did that to her, or she did that to Trump. Like, you would have been, you would have been like, this is not how we act in this country. This isn't how we do things. Over there, it's like just a Tuesday to them. Like, they don't.
Yeah, poisonings are commonplace.
Poisonings are very commonplace
with Putin,
with their enemies
and his regime.
They went in and killed people in movie theaters and just
pushing people out of windows and shit like that.
Blown up buildings with people in them to just kill a few people.
I mean,
they'll kill 100 and some to get to that one guy.
Absolutely.
And that's why there's mass graves in the Ukraine and whatever. They don't play.
Well, they don't follow the rules of the Geneva Convention, that's for sure.
They don't follow those rules that were set up after World War II to kind of prevent another World War II from happening, where millions of people are gassed or killed and slaughtered and put into graves. And like this guy, he said in this thing, I want to stop war.
Well, and the thing about it is, I mean, the ultimate hypocrisy that, you have Putin claiming that he's going into the Ukraine to stop Nazism, but yet look how Putin rose to power. He was just the taxi driver, at one point, and then moved through the
in the
lower
KGB.
ranks. Right, but before that, he was a taxi driver.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
and then he got into the KGB, and he wasn't a high-ranking guy in the KGB, really. But he moved through that, and
I think, well, from what I read, he befriended whoever the president was near the end there, before it wasn't the USSR anymore. It was like
who was that?
he befriended whoever the leader was, and the leader liked him. They're like, I like this young guy in the KGB. He says things that make sense. Of course, he just told him what he wanted to hear.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
and that's the thing. Putin is extremely smart. He's not like Donald Trump,
Right.
where Trump is just stupid. He's just like,
Trump is all about Trump, whereas Putin has an ideology about what he wants. He's not doing it just solely because Putin wants. Because technically Putin's the richest man in the world. Like, people don't really realize this. Even Elon Musk said that he has more money than me.
Oh, the assets that he has, and but how they're disguised and covered, but they're
he has real wealth, like on a level that you wouldn't understand.
Well, he's an ideologue for sure. He doesn't do it for him. He's doing it for the history of Russia, and he wants to get back to like true Russian history and like, the Ukraine was this and this and that. It's all warped and messed up, but the guy's smart.
And
he's
all that
intelligent.
stuff that he's reveling in happened before he was born and before all of us were born.
Exactly.
So you don't know what that world looked like. You don't.
Yep.
He's living in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
About that, and that's the same thing with anything, whether you're tackling the environment or whatever. You have to realize that the things that we're fighting were made before all of us were born. The only people that hold on to them are the ones that are afraid they're going to lose everything that they have. And it's not about. To them, it's not about whether there's climate change or not climate change, or whether war is good or not good. It's just, what can I do to maintain my political power and my economic power? That's all they care about.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So
and there is some opportunism in there for that, for sure, because he is a dictator. He's changed the Constitution, so they don't have the elections anymore. Like, how he skewed that whole thing so he can say that. Sure, there is a large extent of self-opportunism in there, but he's doing it for the, like you said, like the certain bigger picture, whereas like Trump was doing it for, himself, a lot of it. Putin is he is a nationalist. He is really into, going back to the old ways of how Russia should be, run, but this Navalny, the way he has risked his life many times, and his daughter, I mean, they were both poisoned, right? I think they were both poisoned, I think they were both poisoned, and for him to keep doing what he's doing, and this documentary, I think, is great. And again, it's sad because how many people are going to see this documentary? And we can get into this later, but it's so sad how the majority of Americans are just so distracted, and we're so on a low energy level that we're just not. We're not looking at these people who are risking their lives to. I
know a lot of us spend our days just looking at videos of people sticking straws and cotton balls in their mouth and nose and stuff like that, or
doing stupid TikTok challenges,
stupid human tricks, and it's just a waste of energy and a waste of time.
It's sad. Again, it's low leveled energy, and meanwhile, you have Ukraine and the people there that are fighting for their independence and just to survive and live and have their own autonomy and sovereignty. And I bet you if you went out and asked just a chunk of people here in this country, they would have they would know little about what's going on. And so I'm glad that you brought up this documentary. A lot of people need to see it. I'm going to see it, and I'm going to implore other people to see it because, Navalny's a hero, and what he's done to risk his life to stand up for people to have independence and the freedom of expression and everything we have here that we take for granted. Right. I'm excited to watch it. I'll probably watch it this weekend for sure.
And just to kind of add to what you're saying, part of the reason I wanted to start this channel with you is that we could do these deep dives into these the reason we watch films and watch documentaries and are really into this kind of stuff is because we're looking for things that are like, we go in with a certain perception of things and we want our minds blown, we want our minds changed. It's like, change my mind. If I'm wrong about something, change my mind. Like, that's all I'm asking. Don't criticize and just say you're a loser or whatever and then just walk away. I mean, that wasn't how things used to happen back in the day. And it's like, and if I don't like something that's just like, oh, that was just like so bad, that movie, I walk away from it and then I don't really think about it ever again. I don't even remember the names of a lot of the movies I've seen that I don't even care about or for. I'm like, I'm not going to make a cause out of like that movie.
For sure.
But going through the trailers, like if you can kind of show me that like this is a movie that's going to blow you away, or this is a documentary that's going to teach you something, like I do want to see that because I'm a consumer of education. I'm a consumer of information, as well as a consumer of just like putting something on and entertaining myself.
Yeah, well, and I like that we can be entertained, but I also like that we bring it to the palette, like documentaries and movies that can change perspective, that can reinforce perspective, support perspective, worldviews, thoughts, and and I think what people will get from this channel as opposed to others is that we will touch on we'll look at funny things and silly things, but we'll also we're also very much into the substantive documentaries and the films that can change society for the better. And this is one where, again, I think Americans are just so closed off, and we think that that everything revolves around us. But there's so much more happening out in the world, environmentally, socially, that we need to be paying more attention to. So hats off to this documentary and the director and of course the subject, Navalny. I think this is like, I'm excited to see that and to learn, to even learn more about what I've already been reading about. So
get proactive.